You've been told a lie, a beautiful, poisonous lie. They told you that some people are just born different, born gifted, born talented. They told you success is a matter of luck, a blessing given to a chosen few. And maybe you believed them. Maybe you looked at someone speaking fluent English, or playing the piano, or building a life that seemed so far ahead, and you whispered to yourself, "I could never do that." You didn't say it out loud, but you felt it. That quiet ache inside your chest, that voice that said, "They have something I don't." But here's the truth, my friend, that voice is lying to you. You see, the world loves to worship talent. It's easier that way. It makes success look magical, untouchable, like something ordinary people can't reach. Because if success comes from talent, then we don't have to try. We can just sit back and say, well, they were born for it. But what if that story is the greatest myth of all? Think about it. When you were a child, you didn't know how to speak your language. You repeated, you stumbled, you copied. You practiced every single day without even realizing it. And now you're fluent. Not because you were talented, but because you were consistent. Every great thing in your life began that way. Step by step, word by word, mistake by mistake. But somewhere along the way, you were taught to fear mistakes. You were taught to believe that if you're not instantly good at something, it's not meant for you. So you stop trying. You stop dreaming. You stop growing, and that's how the myth wins. Because talent, that thing we all chase, isn't a gift. It's a disguise. Behind every talented person is a story of obsession, repetition, and failure. 1,000 quiet mornings where no one was watching. 1,000 moments of doubt, followed by one more try. That's what talent really is. The echo of effort, the shadow of persistence, the reward of staying when others walked away. So if you've ever felt not good enough, if you've ever looked at someone and thought, "I'll never reach that level," pause, take a breath, because this right here is where your story begins. You are not untalented. You are unfinished, and that's not something to be ashamed of. That's something to be excited about, because the truth is coming. And once you understand it, you'll never see talent the same way again. Have you ever looked at someone and felt smaller? Not because they said anything, but because, just by existing, they reminded you of everything you are not. We all do it. We scroll, we watch, we listen, and somewhere in our chest a quiet voice whispers, "I'm behind." You see someone speaking perfect English. You see someone building a business, writing a book, traveling the world, and suddenly, your own progress feels worthless. You were proud a minute ago. You were trying your best, but comparison has a way of stealing joy like a thief in the night. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It says, "Look at them." It says, "You'll never catch up." It says, "They're special." You're not. And slowly you start believing it. You stop practicing. You stop learning. Because why try if you'll never be as good as them? But here's something they never told you. You're comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. You're looking at the finished song, not the hundreds of broken notes it took to get there. You're looking at the fluent speaker, not the years of silence, of grammar mistakes, of fear before every conversation. You're looking at the masterpiece, but not the messy sketch behind it. We forget that progress is invisible when it's happening. We forget that growth is quiet, like a seed under the soil. You don't see it growing. But it's growing anyway. So stop measuring your chapter 1 against someone else's chapter 20. You're not behind. You're just becoming. Every expert you admire once stood where you are. Confused, unsure, maybe even afraid. They stumbled through their first sentences. They doubted themselves. They wanted to quit, but they kept going. One word at a time. One small improvement each day. And here's something powerful. They still compare too. Even the talented ones. Because comparison doesn't disappear with success. It only changes shape. Becomes a new voice that says, "You should be even better." So, no matter how high you climb, comparison will always try to drag you down, unless you do something different. Unless you stop looking sideways and start looking inward. Because your real competition is not the person next to you. It's the person you were yesterday. If you spoke one sentence better today, you're winning. If you practiced instead of quitting, you're growing. If you learned one new word, you're evolving. That's the kind of success no one can take from you. You don't need to run faster than others. You just need to move forward, even slowly, even quietly, even when no one notices. Because every small step, every repeated word, every moment you choose practice over pride, you're building something greater than talent. You're building character. And one day, when someone looks at you and says, "You're so talented," you'll smile because you'll know the truth. You weren't born gifted. You just refuse to give up. There's a moment in every journey when motivation fades, when the excitement that once burned bright turns into something quieter, something slower. That's the moment most people quit. Because they think progress should feel powerful. They think success should look exciting. But the truth is, real growth often looks boring. It's repetition. It's patience. It's doing the same small thing again and again until it becomes a part of who you are. Practice is not glamorous. It's not loud. It doesn't get likes or applause. But practice is magic in disguise. It's the invisible force that turns effort into excellence. Every time you repeat a word in English, you're not just learning the language. You're wiring your brain to think differently. Every time you fail and try again, you're not just improving your skill. You're teaching your mind resilience. Science calls it neuroplasticity. It means your brain changes with use. It means every time you practice, you literally reshape who you are. Think about that for a second. Every new word, every new sound, every time you choose to keep going, you're rewriting your own brain. That's power. That's real transformation. But we often miss it because we're addicted to results. We want the big leap, not the small step. We want fluency now, not after 100 tries. We want success that looks fast, not growth that feels slow. But here's the secret. The small step is the big leap, because everything great you've ever admired was built through practice. The pianist who moves your heart plays the same notes 1,000 times. The athlete who breaks records trains through pain when no one's watching. The speaker whose English sounds effortless once struggled to pronounce thu. The writer whose words feel like poetry has a folder full of mistakes they'll never show. Practice is not punishment. It's preparation. It's how you tell the universe, "I'm serious about this," and the universe listens. It rewards those who stay, shapes those who persist. Because the truth is, there's nothing natural about mastery. There's only effort repeated until it becomes instinct. Think of water dripping on stone. One drop does nothing. But years of persistence carve mountains. That's practice. That's what you're doing. Every time you show up, even when it feels pointless, you're carving your own mountain. You just can't see it yet, so don't underestimate your quiet days. The days you think you're not improving. Those are the days you're transforming. You're building discipline. You're building patience. You're building a version of yourself who doesn't depend on motivation anymore. Because motivation is temporary. But habit is forever. It's what carries you when inspiration dies. It's what whispers, "Keep going," when the world says stop. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes possible. And that, my friend, is where greatness begins. So today, don't ask, "Am I talented?" Ask you, "Did I practice?" Because talent might open the door, but only practice keeps you inside. Every time you look at someone great, someone the world calls a genius, a prodigy, or a born legend, remember this. You're looking at the end of their story, not the beginning. Greatness doesn't start with applause. It starts in silence. Let me tell you a few stories the world likes to forget. There was a boy named Michael Jordan. People call him the greatest basketball player in history. But when he was 15, he didn't make his high school team. He was told he wasn't good enough, not tall enough, not talented enough. He cried that night. But the next morning, he didn't quit. He trained harder. He showed up early. He stayed late. He practiced every single day, not to prove others wrong, but to prove himself right. Years later, when people called him a natural, he smiled, because he knew his talent was built, not born. Then there was Thomas Edison. We remember him for inventing the light bulb, but not for the 1,000 times he failed before that. Someone once asked him, "How does it feel to fail 1,000 times?" He said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. That's what practice looks like. That's what persistence feels like. It's not talent. It's patience. It's not talent. It's patience. And what about J.K. Rowling? Before she became one of the most successful authors in the world, she was a single mother, struggling to survive. 12 publishers rejected her book. 12 doors closed, but she kept writing, alone, broke, unseen. When Harry Potter finally reached the world, people called her gifted. They said she was lucky, but luck doesn't write 7 books. Habit does. Belief does, or think of Albert Einstein. As a child, he barely spoke. His teachers said he would never be smart. He was slow, distracted, lost in thought, but he was curious. He kept asking questions no one could answer. He practiced thinking. Yes, even thinking is a skill, until his mind became sharp enough to reshape physics itself. Do you see the pattern? Every talented person was once invisible. Every genius was once ordinary. Every master was once a beginner who refused to stop. Because the myth of talent isn't just wrong, it's dangerous. It makes you forget that progress is earned, not inherited. That skill is built, not given. And you, listening right now, you're not different from them. You have the same tool they had: time, effort, choice. You have the same 24 hours. The same opportunity to practice one more time, to try one more time, to rise one more time. Maybe your dream isn't to dunk a basketball or write a novel. Maybe it's to speak English confidently, to express yourself without fear, to think in the language of your goals. That's your court. That's your invention. That's your story waiting to be written. And just like them, you'll stumble. You'll fail. You'll doubt yourself. But if you keep showing up, one sentence, one word, one effort at a time, you'll find something stronger than talent. You'll find rhythm. You'll find momentum. You'll find your voice, because success isn't a miracle. It's a pattern. And every pattern begins with one repetition. So the next time someone calls you gifted, smile quietly. Because only you will know how many invisible mornings built that moment. And the next time someone calls themselves talentless, tell them this story. Tell them that greatness isn't something you're born with. It's something you become through practice, through failure, through faith, through showing up when no one believes. Except you, there comes a moment when you finally get tired of being a spectator in your own life. A moment when you stop saying, maybe I'll try someday, and start whispering, why not today? That moment is the turning point. Not when the world believes in you. Not when you have everything figured out, but when you decide to believe in yourself, just a little more than your doubt. Because for years you've carried stories that don't belong to you. Stories that say, I'm not smart enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not like them, but my friend. Those are borrowed stories. You didn't write them. You just repeated them until they felt true. Today, it's time to write new ones. Take a moment. Breathe. Think of something you've always wanted to do. Something that's been sitting quietly inside your heart. Maybe it's speaking English with confidence. Maybe it's starting something new. Maybe it's simply believing you deserve more. Whatever it is, say it to yourself now. Feel how it sounds in your voice. That's not a dream. That's a direction. And every direction begins with one step. You see, you can't rewrite your story overnight, but you can start a new sentence today. The world will still tell you it's about talent. They'll still say, some people just have it. And that's fine. Let them talk. Let them stay asleep in that story, because you're awake now. You've seen the truth. Talent is only potential. Habit is power. The difference between who you are and who you want to be is not talent. It's repetition. So stop saying, I can't. Start saying, I'm learning. Stop saying, I'm not good at this. Start saying, I'm getting better every day, because words shape reality, and every sentence you speak is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. Maybe no one told you this before, but it's never too late to start again, never too late to build something new, never too late to forgive yourself for waiting so long. You can change direction at any age, any stage, any moment, because your story isn't over. It's just turning a page, and I know it's hard. Starting again means accepting you'll be bad at first. It means feeling uncomfortable, watching others go faster and staying patient while your progress grows roots. But remember, every expert you admire once stood where you stand now. And every time they chose to begin again, their story got better. Yours will too. So here's what I want you to do. Next time that voice whispers, "You're not talented," smile at it. Thank it for reminding you what to prove wrong. Then take a small step. Read one paragraph in English. Write one sentence. Speak one word out loud. Do it today. Not perfectly, but honestly. Because your transformation doesn't start with perfection. It starts with participation. Every time you try, you rewrite your story. Every time you practice, you edit your old beliefs. Every time you refuse to quit, you become your own proof. And maybe one day someone will look at you and say, "You're so lucky. You're so talented," but you'll know better. You'll know that what they call talent was built from thousands of small, invisible victories. Moments when you chose effort over excuses. Moments when you believed even when it hurt. Because talent may impress the world, but habits, they change it. This is your turning point, my friend. Not tomorrow. Not one day. Now, pick up the pen. Pick up the dream. Pick up the voice you lost somewhere along the way. And start rewriting your story. One word, one step, one day at a time. Change doesn't happen in explosions. It happens in whispers, one choice, one action, one moment of courage repeated, again and again. That's how every great transformation begins. Not with a plan, not with talent, but with a habit. A single habit can change your life. And no, not the kind of habit people talk about in books or fancy speeches. I'm talking about the small one. The one that seems too simple to matter. Like reading 5 minutes in English every morning. Like speaking one new sentence to yourself in the mirror. Like writing one thought in a notebook before bed, that's it. No perfection. No pressure. Just presence. Because when you repeat something daily, you tell your brain, "This is who I am now." And your brain listens. It doesn't argue. It doesn't judge. It adapts. Every repetition sends a signal. A message that says, "I'm serious about this," and over time, that message becomes identity. You're no longer trying to learn English. You're becoming someone who speaks. You're no longer chasing discipline. You're becoming someone who lives it. That's the beauty of habit. It doesn't just change what you do. It changes who you are. Let me tell you a secret most people never learn. Motivation is a spark. Habit is the fire. Motivation will get you started. Habit will keep you going. Motivation says, "I feel inspired today." Habit says, "I'll do it anyway." Motivation fades when life gets hard. Habit stands up and keeps walking. That's why the small habit, that 5-minute daily effort, is everything. It's how you train your mind to show up even when you don't feel ready. Because mastery is not about doing more. It's about doing less, but doing it every day. Let's make it real. Let's build your habit. Right now, ask yourself, what's one small action I can do every day that moves me closer to who I want to be? Don't make it big, make it possible, because possible becomes powerful when it's repeated. If you want to become fluent in English, start with one small ritual. Start with one small ritual. Wake up, take a deep breath, and say one positive sentence in English. I am improving. I am learning. I am becoming fluent. Say it until you believe it. If you can, listen to one short English story a day, maybe this one. Write one new word on a piece of paper and use it in your thoughts. Speak to yourself like you'd speak to a friend. That's how fluency grows. That's how confidence blooms. Not in one big leap, but in 1,000 small, invisible victories. And this doesn't just work for language. It works for life. The habit of showing up builds trust with yourself. Every time you do what you promised, you prove that you are reliable. You stop breaking your own word. And that creates confidence, real, lasting confidence. Because confidence isn't loud, it's quiet. It's built in the moments when no one sees you practicing, but you do it anyway. It's built in the discipline of just 5 minutes, in the patience of repetition, in the love for progress that no one claps for yet. So today, let this be your new truth. Talent doesn't make success. Habits do. Every word you speak, every lesson you repeat, every small promise you keep. It's building a version of you that doesn't rely on luck or magic, because consistency is the real miracle. When you practice daily, you create momentum. And momentum makes everything easier. One day you'll wake up and realize you didn't need talent after all. You just needed time and truth. So here's the habit that changes everything. Show up every day, no matter what, even if it's small, even if it's quiet, even if no one sees you. Because success doesn't belong to the talented. It belongs to the consistent. And you, my friend, you are no longer waiting for talent. You're building truth. You're building strength. You're building you.